Bally. Bally. I like
Bally.
Bally. I like Bally. We're
I
just
like
gonna say
Bally,
Bally.
like Bally Total Fitness.
Yes, exactly. I love it. Bally, the Swiss luxury brand, they fired, or well, we don't know. They parted ways with
They parted
their
ways.
very recent creative director. Oh God, Ruigi Villaseñor, uh, best known as the owner designer of Rhude, Rhude with an E.
Rude boy.
And it's really weird. He'd only been there for a year. He did 2 collections with Bally, and now they're splitting off. And that's even in the world of musical chairs that we've been talking about for some time now. That is a very short tenure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, one of the this is a great story for us to sink our teeth into because
Yeah.
we've done a lot of speculating about
Right.
what compels people to take these jobs and what kind of pushes them out.
Hmm.
And this is talk about quick turnaround. I
Right.
mean, it's been getting weirder and weirder. I mean, I think after Daniel Lee left Bottega Veneta
Hmm.
after being there for such a short period of time, but that period of time being so explosive, like that was the start of like it's only going to get weirder.
Right.
Um, and like this, let's just call him Mr. Rude.
Yep.
Like the fact that he only did 2 seasons
Yeah.
seems like something catastrophic must have happened. Like,
Right.
why the hell would you hire somebody to be like a to direct your brand into the future for only 2 years? So, I mean, one
Right.
year. So I think we need to speculate. We need to speculate why this happened because
Yep.
I mean, like off the top of your dome, you're pulling this stuff up.
There we go. This is his first one right here.
Can you show us like the go to the collection slideshow? I mean,
Yes. Whoa.
like truth be told, Bally is not a brand that I know like the back of my hand,
No,
but I do
speaking, I
know of it.
oh, come on. It's
Oh
trying to
my
get me to
god,
pay for
Kilian.
it. So I will say literally the only interaction or knowledge that I have of Bally is that I thrift their shoes all the time and
Sure.
flip them. Like they show up at thrift incredibly regularly. That's all I
Yeah.
know.
Well, they are known for their shoes. That's one of the things that they have been known for. Um, but like right now for our audio listeners, we're looking at collections from Bally's spring summer ready to wear 2023. One of 2 seasons
Yep.
that the Mr. Rude directed. And at least just like kind of going through these first like looks,
Yeah.
there is at initially like the first thing I'm going to say is there is nothing that says get this guy out of here. He's a madman.
Right.
If anything, maybe it's I wouldn't even call it too reserved. I mean, we're looking at a picture where the model was wearing a python skin blazer,
Yep.
so it's not too reserved.
It
I think that
feels a little bit kind of similar to what we were talking about with Matthew and Williams at Givenchy last season, where it kind of feels like Rude, but if you gave them a luxury budget and like Atelier, you know?
yeah, yeah. And I think that that is often the best case scenario with like this whole social experiment that brands have been doing,
Yeah.
where you take a hot young designer who has an aesthetic and design that is unorthodox or not codified. You bring them in, you basically appropriate them to be the leader of your brand, and then there's a sharpening of their vision
Yeah.
with the demands of creating these massive collections with global reach. And I think that that can often be a really positive thing. I think that we often see, like I've said this before, I think Demna, his first collections at Balenciaga, were the ones that he really found his stride. Like I like that. I like
Mhm.
that dress a lot. That one.
Yes, I
I
agree.
just think it's totally it's out there. It's different. It's new, but it's also very sexy. Very.
Very, yeah.
I think that that's a cool design.
For our listeners, it's like a very like tight-fitting
like
black
bodycon dress.
bodycon dress with these cutouts going all the way down one side, like very revealing, almost like McQueen bumster type cutouts, like the way it's giving so much pelvic bone, you know? Yeah, this one you could see like a Zendaya or something wearing this easy. Uh, the one thing I'll say, looking through it, especially some of the earlier stuff, there's a lot of browns and kind of beiges. If I had to put a knock on it, I would say it feels a little bit dated. Like it's not screaming
Yeah.
newness. It kind of reminds me of like some of the pre Daniel Lee Bottega Veneta stuff,
I was
honestly.
gonna say, like, it makes me think of Kim Jones at Louis Vuitton.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, that I mean, sometimes it's hard to say. You know, sometimes it is hard to be so like decisive and critical of designers, but I think that at the end of the day, something that does happen is that you don't see them pushing the envelope enough where their impact is undeniable or is
Right.
like I think that we were talking about Matthew Williams last episode.
Mhm.
I really like Matthew Williams. I like what he's doing at Givenchy, but I worry that it's not making it enough of an impact because I
Right.
think that the way that these kind of creative director, star director things work is they come in and
Yeah.
they provide a design that is so different in some way that the ripple effect throughout the industry. Like when
Right.
Alessandro started at Gucci,
Oh,
ripple
yeah.
effect. Everybody started doing maximism. Everybody started doing embroidery stuff.
Yep.
Uh, Obviously, Daniel Lee is the other example. Everybody wanted to wear Kelly Green,
Right.
and if I think that's the only way it works. They has to have that like that massive
You
impact.
need to have that meteoric impact that shakes
Yeah.
things, and that's like what they're looking for. Uh, I am curious. We're now looking at the second of two Ruigi Bally shows for this one, fall 2023, and I'm curious if there's anything that looks like, oh, this took a nosedive real fast. You know what I mean?
Because like as a reminder to the audience, this guy had a shorter career there than like I do usually, and I'm always
Right.
fired.
Right.
Like if I'm outlasting you in a job, there's something wrong.
This was a shorter stint than Claire Waite Keller at Givenchy, and that you barely
And
remember a single
I
thing
don't
she
even
made.
remember her name. I
Exactly.
don't even know who Kilian's talking about. Um, I
Hmm.
mean, big Kim Jones vibes. I don't
Big,
know. I
yeah.
mean, like pause for a second. Go back there. Go back to the
Yes.
dude.
Uh,
There. I like this outfit. I like the look. I would wear this in a heartbeat.
yep.
You know, we're looking at like kind of like a like Ralph Lauren khaki brown
Yeah.
suit. A nice trench coat, you know, classic tan, a warm brown turtleneck, and what looks like plum purple boots.
Yep.
Um, I like this outfit, but I would say I don't know. It doesn't. It's not different, right? It's not.
No, I mean the interesting element is the kind of multi-tonality of brown that's going on. Like
Yeah.
that it shows that he had a full concept of this look, essentially building inwards and getting darker. Like there's an interesting idea here at its core, but it's just not like exploding onto the runway in the way that you would expect from he is
From
a
Rhude.
streetwear guy, quote unquote, right?
Yeah,
He came
Rhude
from
boy.
Rhude. You're kind of expecting that kind of Virgil immediate, like, wow, this changes everything. And it looks like that's not really what he was trying to do based on these two collections.
No, no, no. But even that, uh, how do you lose that job so quickly? I mean,
Right.
he could have stepped away.
Yeah,
There could have
for
been
sure.
some other factor that we're not accounting for.
Yeah.
But it feels like that something happened,
Mhm.
or I don't know because like what would be the reasoning? It seems like such a bad business decision
I
because
don't, yeah.
you know, you don't want to fire somebody unless you absolutely have to, especially if it was somebody you hired for like a lot of publicity and as a
Yeah.
leadership role. You only want to get rid of them if you absolutely have to do so
So
because it's
let's
embarrassing.
go to the other side of that because I think that's a great point. It's hard to figure out where the incentives are for them to fire him unless maybe he was getting paid so astronomically much that would go under otherwise. But now let's think of the option: did he leave? Right, which is probably the way I'd lean if I had to
Yeah,
guess. Like I'd
it's
go 60-40 maybe there because I could see a guy like that. He's been running his own brand. I read that he never got like proper design training, like he didn't go to fashion school or anything. So going into like a European luxury house from the self-made kind of Virgil school streetwear come up, it could be tough, the bureaucracy and the culture and everything.
yeah. I mean, and that's kind of the other component that I think we've brought up more than once is the reality is these jobs are extremely demanding.
Mhm.
They're immensely stressful. They ask for a lot from you.
Mhm.
And it's like when people step away after 4 years or 5 years or even 10 years, like I don't have, like Alessandro, as an example.
Yep.
If Alessandro said, you know what, I'm going to chill for a second, that makes
Mhm.
sense because his life has probably been nonstop
Right.
from the day that he was announced. I mean, think about it. Think about how big Gucci has been, and
Yeah.
Alessandro has been leading all of that. He has to pretend to be friends with what's his face, uh,
Who? What?
The Joker, uh,
The Joker?
Jared
Jared
Leto.
Leto. Oh my god, Jared Leto, of course.
Yeah, he
The
has to pretend to be
bromance there.
friends
Yep.
with Jared Leto.
Yep.
Um, it just kind of makes sense for somebody to go, yeah, I need to like take a few years as a break. And I wouldn't be surprised if Luigi,
Yep.
Rude Luigi,
Yeah.
decided after a year that he's like, oh, you know what? I don't want this.
Yeah,
I'm probably well off since my brand has been successful. Like, you know, like
that's what I'm thinking. So,
Rude is probably good enough. He'll probably be able to live off of that.
yeah,
Uh,
so Bally is by no means a top tier European luxury brand. They can't have a ton going on in the bank, at least compared to like the mega brands. It was kind of like a rebuilding move that they did here. I bet just running Rhude as the owner, literally running the thing. If you look around the like luxury boutique landscape, the amount of stock Rhude, I think, has more stockists than Bally does. Let's just
yeah,
say that, you know?
yeah, I bet you're right. I mean, frankly, I bet you're right. That's a reality. I
Yeah.
bet places like Nordstrom
Yeah.
and everyone else are more eager to stock Rude, and they
Yeah.
probably move more Rude
Hmm.
than they ever have of Bally Total Fitness.
Exactly.
And and and,
Interesting.
I mean, it seems like if you were to have accepted the role in the first place, you knew what you were getting into, and you were prepared for what it entails. But maybe it. I think you're right that it was in all likelihood probably mutual to some extent. In that, I
Yeah.
don't think he was like, I hate it here, or like,
Yeah.
not that. Like, I don't think Bally was like surprised him by firing him. I bet it was
Right.
probably like him going, you know what, I was wrong about this.
Exactly. Because I
Um,
think it's just too complete putting myself in his shoes, both their shoes. It's just
you're
too
putting one his shoe on one foot, their shoe on
Yeah,
the
I've got
other foot.
a Rhude sneaker on this foot, the ones that look like geo baskets, and then on
Yeah.
the other, I have a pair of Bally loafers.
Uh huh.
Um, so thinking about that, the way the two brands work, I have to imagine complete polar opposites because he comes from a world where you're just like making tech packs and sending it off to the factory in Portugal or whatever, and then getting samples back, that whole game.
Yeah, the
Whereas
game.
at Bally, you have to assume it's a completely different animal. You're working with layers of staff and
Yeah.
approvals and bureaucracy. And marketing managers and presidents of the whatever, maybe might even be family owned for all I know, you know?
Yeah, but presumably, if it's a brand of that size, you're almost 100% right. I mean, you and I, we both have worked we've both climbed the corporate ladder,
Right.
and there is a reality. You come to terms with something when you work at places like that, where you realize, damn, no wonder X happens here,
Yep.
because it is like steering that ship is, you need a billion people to all agree just to move the
Yes.
rudder just a little bit.